welcome back. Still leafing through the All Wednesday return of War of the Monster Trucks in sort of another guise, but the same humour. That'll be on sale at Hillsborough before the game with Derby County on Saturday. Steve Walmsley from War of the Monster Trucks. It's more of an online digital forum now, isn't it?
It has been since 2004, yeah.
And you write articles. We'll talk about your articles in a minute. Kevin Gage, Sheffield United pundit these days, and Craig Denton, the Worksop Town manager. Kevin, you've been doing quite a lot of radio punditry this season, haven't you? Radio Sheffield occasionally.
Well, I do the I Follow commentary that all clubs have.
Yeah.
So
I thought you stood for Keith Edwards once.
Yeah, I stand in for Keith when he can't make it. Yeah, but every home game I do the I Follow thing, which is good because I like, as we just talked about, being high up. I like being, up on that gantry. You can see much better what's going on. And yeah, it's good. And of course, watching Sheffield United at the moment, I have to say, is a joy. It's easy to commentate on stuff which is really, really good, and you don't want to criticise the team at all, but there's no need to at the moment because the stuff we're playing is fantastic.
Yeah, Craig Denton's nodding, even as an Owls fan.
Definitely,
I mean, allowing Sheffield Wednesday doggedly ground out that point, which they had to do in the circumstances. Did you find yourself actually sitting there at any stage thinking, wow, this team can play?
Yeah, because I don't usually. I see a lot of highlights, but I don't actually get to watch a game on a Saturday afternoon. It's usually the game where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that, and I know that a lot of Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday fans have been talking about the sort of Sheffield United style and how good they are playing. And
what's your style then?
It sometimes it depends. We've got a scout who goes out and watches games. I watch games myself, and depending on the opposition and if we've got any players out, we might have to change it. But the style what I like is winning games. So sometimes we have to tweak it a little bit. It sometimes comes across a little bit direct. Again, the pitches change at different times of the year. So it's difficult sometimes to be passing the ball on the floor for long periods of time. But yeah, we train midweek and we look to where we can hurt the opposition. And if we have to change his style, then so be it.
Sheffield Wednesday's manager's a bit like that. He's happy to change the style dependent on the opposition, and it's great when there's a good result. But he's had some heavy criticism lately, isn't he? 4 successive defeats, and then the Derby draw, and picking a different team and formation quite often. Where do you stand on that one then, Steve?
I was surprised at the start of the season that they weren't, when they played 3 at the back last season, they generally defended pretty well. And then they started with 3 at the back this season and didn't defend very well at all. Even the pre-season, you could see they just weren't right as a unit. And then they defended pretty badly at Wigan first game, and then ever since then he's just been chopping and changing. Playing.
What do you favour? Back 3? I do.
I think they're best suited to a back 3.
Yeah.
Maybe playing kind of 5 in midfield away and 4 when he's at home and 3 up front. But
seems to work better.
It seems to
work.
Players
seem to understand it better.
Yeah.
A bit of humour is required in football at all times, but not least if you're an Owl at the moment, I should think. And this should brighten everybody's day on Saturday. We've just been leafing through it. There's some Pete McKee cartoons in there, quite a few.
Yeah.
Which is always a great addition to any publication.
Yeah, they're Pete's from when he used to do his cartoons for A View from the East Bank. Yeah. So
yes.
Pete agreed, which was one of the Wednesday fanzines from a few years ago. Yeah, and Pete agreed we could use them.
And of course, no Wednesday publication fanzine would be complete without a reference to
Neil Warnock.
Yeah. So what have we got here then? We've got Merry Christmas, Mr. Warthog. What do the speech bubbles say there? We'll both finish up with the sack in December, says Santa.
Yeah.
And
so what do Neil Warnock and Father Christmas have in common?
Both end up with the sack.
Usually end up with the sack in December, yeah.
You could be right, although they're fighting, getting points at the moment, yeah. Great stuff. There's tremendous links historically between, some of our viewers tonight might be thinking, what on earth is the manager of Worksop Town doing on Sheffield Live TV? It's 20 miles away, etc. But the close relationship between this city and your football club over the years is quite phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The names, when you look down the names.
Yeah, you get lots of sort of, any friends or relatives always say to me, "Oh, what are you doing in football now?" I say Worksop, and they always can refer back to someone who may have played for the club or been in and around the club. You know, you look at likes of, you know, Chris Waddle is a perfect example to that. He's played for, you know, Worksop Town and the rest of Sheffield Wednesday, Tottenham and so on. So yeah, a big connection.
Yeah, Chris Waddle, Mark Smith, Johnny Quinn, another famous Owl's name, and Blades as well, Alan Hodgkinson, I think was born in Worksop, it's got a link there. Peter Eustace played for Worksop, the former Wednesday midfield player and manager briefly. Herbert Chapman, the great title-winning manager of Huddersfield Town, and Arsenal back in our youth, Kevin.
In your youth, yeah. Tony Curry lives there, by the way.
Tony Curry lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get him along one day.
And somebody, and also Jack Brown from many years ago, a really famous historical character. But for more on Jack Brown, you need to read books by the likes of Lance Hardy, the football historian type author. He's a Sunderland fan, and he has a book about Sunderland out at the moment, but he lives in Worksop as well. He's a Worksop Town supporter. So the word is spread. We're going to say cheerio. I'm sorry about this. Somebody's got to be substituted.
That's okay.
Because James Gregg is going to appear magically in your seat. But before you go, just something quite serious. You know, when a football club isn't doing well, there's this blame culture, and I try in my own small way with a column each week to fight that, because people are looking to see who they can blame for this team being in the lower half of the championship at the moment. And when I look at the characters that they blame, I think it's all circumstances, because you have an owner who invested heavily, went for it, in 2 seasons it didn't work out, so much would have been different had promotion been achieved. You've got a manager whose brief, this Carlos Carvalho, was to win promotion, didn't quite work out. And both of those get heavily criticised for what's happening now. And the manager in situ gets heavily criticised for looking to the future and saying this football club's going to lose a lot of these experienced players. We've got to bring younger players in. So where do you stand on that? Are you blaming any of those individuals, or are you looking at circumstances as well?
I think it's fair to say, I think that since Wembley 2016, our recruitment has not been as good as it was before. And we've signed players who were older at the back end of their careers, have no resale value, significant wages. We paid transfer fees for some of them, and you know, they maybe had injuries when we'd signed them. They've proved to be injured since they've been here, so a lot of money that the club has spent has been wasted in inverted commas. So I think there's a fair amount of criticism about that, and the consequence of that is transfer embargo in the summer. The manager that we've got now is now stuck. He wanted to change the squad in the summer, wasn't able to do it, and won't really be able to do it until next summer, when we've got another 10, 11 players out of contract.
Will he survive that long?
I hope he does, because I quite like him, really. I think he's had a tough gig. Yeah. But the next 2 or 3 games are going to be fairly key for him, really. We need decent results, otherwise the pressure will really get onto. Yeah,
I don't think it's pressure from within. I think it's more pressure from public opinion if the results go against. But I think he deserves more respect. He's no fool, and deserves a bit more respect for what he's trying to do, if not the way he's trying to do it at times. Just final question for you. Of all the players, on the experienced players who are not being used, are there any that you would put in yourself?
I have Sam Hutchinson, possibly. I think. I mean, at least having him on the bench, because there's some games when you just think a bit of experience occasionally might not go amiss, particularly when you're trying to field a lot of younger players, which is what we're doing at the moment. But I don't go with the Westwood argument that lots of fans do. But I do understand the Hutchinson.
No, I agree with you entirely. And I think get behind Cameron Dorsey. You've got 2 very good young goalkeepers. You back those young goalkeepers for the future. Yeah. Notwithstanding the fact that the guy that's not getting in is a very good goalkeeper and has done marvellously well for Sheffield Wednesday. It's been brilliant to talk to you, and I wish you every success, not only on Saturday, Steve, but in the next 20 minutes or so getting Kevin Gage to buy a copy of this. I really hope it sells. How many copies have you printed, by the way?
We printed 800.
You'll get rid of them, no problem.
Hopefully
You
so.
really will.
Yeah, hopefully so.
You really will.
Make some more money for the Children's Hospital if it does.
Kevin will buy one and he'll sell it on to one of his Wednesday customers for a profit, you know, in his hotel, in the Manor Hotel at Dronfield. It's been a pleasure to see you, and thanks very much indeed, Steve. The matches you've got coming up, Craig, particularly interesting, you know, going to Penistone, and Yorkshire Amateur, I think, are one of the smallest clubs as well. They're leading.
Yeah, they are. They're doing really well. I mean, we're coming up against Penistone on Saturday, and it's another lovely little club. The manager, Richard, there, he's had a lot of time to put a squad together, and I think it's really nice when you've got that sort of like local club where your fans can come and support and cheer a local side on. I think that's really nice. And
it's good if a manager gets some longevity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You're in your first season. You're only in like 4 months into the job, really, effectively, aren't you? So,
yeah,
you know, you'd hope that you get time. But at a club like that, and I've been there to Sandy Lane, and I can sense that. I can sense that feeling that this is a big club at that level, and that you will. The more spectators you have in the ground, the bigger your critical element is, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, from a playing point of view, you said something earlier which was dead right, because players want to play in front of a few fans, don't they? So the more fans you can get down there, the better quality players you can attract. Obviously, the money's all part of it, but at the end of the day, you know, players do want to perform. Yeah. You're going out there to kind of entertain. Yeah, it's for your own benefit as well, and you want to play football. But it's good to have some recognition, even if there's a few hundred there. It's great, isn't it?
It's it's affordable price. I think it's £6 to get in. You've got a nice bar in there, so you can get down early, watch the live football, and you know. And
generally, the standard's good, isn't it? Some goals. I mean, you lost at home last weekend, but there were 5 goals, and I think you played better as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was quite entertaining on Saturday. But we lost the game, and it was nice to get a couple of. I think it was the Worksop under 7s. They was on the pitch at the beginning and at half time as well. That's, you know, it's nice to get, you know, your local community and even Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United fans who might not be able to get to the game to be able to get up to Worksop and watch the game. It's nice just to get a game on Saturday if you can't even get anywhere. Yeah,
I'm desperate. I'll go anywhere, you know.
You're more than welcome to come to Sandy Lane at any time.
I don't mean desperate in a bad sort of way.
I went to Chesterfield, for God's sake.
You did. But like you said, you know, great result in the Cup, which could revitalise everything around there. You know, home to Grimsby. Who'd have thought a home tie against Grimsby would be glamorous? For
I mean, two good league sides in the past, obviously. So it's a shame to see them both down there.
It certainly is. Let's hope it's not for long. James Gregg is here. You look such long-faced tonight. You're mourning the fact that you could still be in Sri Lanka.
I know. I wish I was actually, because England have still got another match to go in Colombo. Starts in the morning, 4:30 our time. Yes, I know it's been a good time, but we'll talk about that another time. But it's been fantastic.
I'll tell you what, next week we'll talk in detail about that.
Fine.
You've been working around the England test team for, among other people, the Barmy Army, the England Barmy Army, in Sri Lanka, hosting events and doing videos and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's a really, I know you've got a big insight on knowing players at that level. So next week we'll have a good chin wag about that.
Absolutely. Okay. I know you love your cricket as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if some of the viewers do as well. It's even better. So perfect.
But meantime, it's not just football. But I know that you've got. Look at this modern man.
Yeah.
Here's
I used to write on a scraggly piece of paper.
2 sides of A4, and he goes and.
I used to come in and get all scrunched up, and I used to leave him in. He'd still be here 6 months later. No, don't get him on the phone now. Take the phone case off though, because that offends half of the city. We'll start with basketball though. Sheffield Sharks, they've won 6 in a row in the British Basketball League. 7 in total this season. They got a smash and grab win down in Plymouth at the weekend as well. They've got a couple of weeks off before their next game. The Sheffield Steelers in ice hockey, 7th in the league standings, and they're next in action at the Arena on Sunday. 4 p.m. is the tip-off time against Manchester. Loads of tickets left to go and see that sort of resurgence under the new coach as well. Picking up a few results here and there are the Steelers. To football, Sheffield United. After the international break, Kieran Freeman, of course, getting his first cap for Wales, and off the back of that derby draw as well. It'll be interesting to see how the Blades react in another derby when they play against the Millers on Saturday, 12:30 kick-off on the telly, of course, if you haven't got a ticket, Blades fans, for that one. And Wednesday, well, a tough game, you've already touched on that, Alan, as well, against Derby County. Look out, of course, for the fanzine being sold outside, all proceeds going to Sheffield Children's Hospital.
You haven't bought one yet, have you?
No, well, no, I haven't, obviously not. I will do, for a good cause, and then give it to Gage. Sheffield United ladies, they've got a game against Lewes on Sunday at the Olympic Legacy Park. Kevin, you will be watching. You're a massive advocate, aren't you, of the Sheffield United ladies? What's it been like? You know, some of the viewers, they might not have been. I sort of bang on about it every week, but you actually go and you kind of, you know, immerse yourself in it, and you've got a sort of invested interest as well.
Yeah, I'm a bit biased because my stepdaughter, you know, is on the verge of the first team. That she's only 16 and a half. This is her first season. She's very good. She's played for England, etc. So she's heavily involved in it, obviously. I've seen just about all the games, I think, except there's a couple in London. And do you know what? It's really good entertainment. It's like pure football. There's no cynicism. There's not much cynicism. Yeah. It's building sometimes, but they get the ball down, they pass the ball, they're fully committed.
They take knocks and get up.
Oh, yeah, of course they do.
No play acting.
If you cut the hair, you wouldn't know. You see the ponytails, you see close up, you can see their girls and their ladies, but the football, you wouldn't know they were ladies.
I saw them win 4 or 5 against Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's the best performance of the season, 4-1.
There's some terrific goals in there. Somebody got a hat-trick in that game. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, fantastic. So that'll be good. So get yourself up to the Olympic Legacy Park on Sunday for that one. Meanwhile, non-league as well. Hallam FC, they're away at Harworth, unbeaten in 10 in the league as well. Great run for them. Sheffield FC have got AFC Mansfield, a side that they only played, incidentally, last week. Hopefully they can repeat that 2-0 victory that they recorded last week at the Coach and Horses ground. And Worksop Town, you've already touched on it. You've got Penistone Church, Keith Hackett's team, actually, former referee. You've talked about what a lovely club it is, but what kind of a game can we expect?
I think it's going to be an end-to-end game. You know, I think Penistone, they want to continue their run, and we want to go and pick up some points. So it'll be a nice, feisty game where both teams trying to get the points.
You won't get any help from the match officials with Keith Hackett being a Penistone supporter. Just watch out for that.
Absolutely,
yeah. You won't get anything going your way. By the way, he's ex-Rainworth manager. Now then, you're going to say something.
I'm not going to say
Rainworth ain't right, is it? It's called
Renneth.
I told you this. You didn't believe me. Yeah.
I know, but I needed a second opinion on it. It's pronounced Renneth.
Renneth.
Right.
Yeah. Got picked up a few times on that one.
Yeah?
Yeah,
well,
I did.
Because you said Rainworth as well, did you?
Yeah, when I first started it was Rainworth, and then I got told by a lovely lady behind the counter that that's not how you pronounce it. No. It's Renneth.
It's like Grenell in Sheffield, or Beachiff.
Beachiff, yeah.
Not Beauchief.
Not like I used to say Beauchief.
No one calls it Beauchief.
I did.
I'm from London. I don't go Beauchief.
No, but it looked like it when I lived in Chesterfield. I'm from London as well, South London originally, a long time ago. But my family moved to Chesterfield, and I remember looking and seeing Beauchief on the map, and I thought it was Beachiff, to be precise. Ronnie Reid, now then, there's a name. We mentioned all these connections between Sheffield football and Worksop.
Yeah.
There's the Ronnie Reid connection. I believe he's even been seen, the great man.
He has. He's been attending a few games. I think he's getting involved with the club at some length. So, an experienced guy who's will be able to add loads to our younger players and also to myself and senior players. So
I remember the great record of bringing through players at Bramall Lane, of course, Ronnie Reid. Yeah. Talk about bringing through players or going in a different way. I wrote a piece in my column a week ago about the January transfer window, and I think it's well known now that Chris Wilder is looking in a very serious ballpark, a very restricted ballpark for the kind of players that might make a difference. He's only talking 1 or 2 in the window, and we can forget young hopefuls from Premier League clubs on loan, looking for the the finished article. Jermaine Defoe and Shane Long were the two I mentioned, which I believe have been discussed internally, and might not be them, there'll be others as well. What do you make of it, the January window?
I think it's the right way to go for the football club. You know, it's a real statement of intent, isn't it? You know, we don't just want to get any old wrong terminology. Didn't mean any old player, but
yeah,
we're looking for quality, and if we want to achieve Premiership standard next season, hopefully, you know, we have to look at Premiership standard quality players, you know, to get that final push up there.
And let's hope the support will be there from the owners amid this dispute.
That's the key to everything, isn't it? Yeah. But I don't think Chris will be wasting his time banding these names about or even talking to clubs and players. If he didn't have the finance to back it up, it would be pointless, wouldn't it? He won't, you know, he wouldn't be kidding himself or the fans.
And on the flip side of that, if you're a Jermaine Defoe type as well, and you know, he probably sees himself as, you know, not that long ago he just missed out on the England World Cup squad and he was devastated about that. If he is going to come to the Championship, he wants to play for a good club, big stature, who play good free-flowing football. Do you think that, you know, Chris Wilder's probably earned the right to be able to have access to players like that who want to come? He probably has, hasn't he, by playing the football that...
I think playing the football is key. If I was Jermaine Defoe and I'd be wanting games and I'm just looking, he's not trying to resurrect his career, he's just looking to enjoy the last few years of his football time. He wants to play. Yeah, he wants to play. Yeah. I'd be looking at Sheffield United videos and watching games and thinking, my word, that's a good team. I'd like to be on the end of some of their moves.
Yes.
You know, I think that comes into it. You know, I've been there, I've been retired, I've had my career. At the end of your career, you just want to play football. I went to Hull City just to get games and just to play a bit. You know, you just want to keep playing at the highest level you can and just keep going. And Jermaine Defoe, he won't want to sit in anybody's reserves.
No,
you know, he'll want to come and play some football and some good quality football as well.
And a Mark Duffy type player who can complement him, come in, you know, sort of Chris can maybe use both, one of them coming in,
but
20 minutes from time.
It's difficult to fit players into our system. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Mark Duffy's been brilliant this season again.
You don't want to replace him. You just want somebody to
can't replace him. No, he's been superb. Similarly with McGoldrick, we just talked about Defoe. McGoldrick and Billy Sharp have been outstanding this season. It's a tough ask to drop.
I think that's the harder position of the two, to get the right man in for that. And I think just briefly, Ben Woodburn, the speculation he could go back to Liverpool. It sounds sensible to me in general. It's just not happening, is it? It doesn't look likely to happen.
No, he's been in and out. A few appearances as substitute. I don't think he's done himself injustice, really. No. So sometimes a player just doesn't fit at a club, and maybe this is the situation here.
Yeah. We look at Worksop Town's results regularly, don't we, here? And we will look even more closely from now on. Craig, we've just got less than a minute of the show left, so the thank yous begin here. But when I was looking at Worksop, the population, I think, is around 45,000 on the most recent census. And you've got, say, a couple of clubs in League One. Accrington, 35,000 population, and Fleetwood, 26,000. So it just shows the potential ultimately at Worksop.
There you go.
Big pressure. big pressure. We thought we'd leave him with that cheery thought.
There we go.
Classic.
I'll tell you, whoever's manager, I wish the very best of luck there. And it's been great for you to come in. And Craig, best of luck for the rest of the season. Kevin, as ever, thanks so much for coming in. We're flying the flag for the Blades. And James, we'll see you next week. I forget who we've got next week. Oh, John Newsom's among the guests next week. We'll talk more fully about your Sri Lanka experience. Meantime, if you missed this, there's a repeat here at 11 p.m. this evening, but it will also be on my YouTube channel. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye.